So, hi there, welcome to today's peak performance session dated November 8, 2024. Please know that these videos are for educational purposes only, not to be taken for any advice. Trading in general is risky, so please don't trade if you can't afford to lose. Past performance and indicative of future results. And if you need to know more, visit our website at www.esttrader.com. Okay, let's discuss about your performance for the week, Kirsty.
Okay.
So out of 10, what would it be?
You okay?
I'm waiting for you.
Oh, okay.
Your performance.
Yeah, I was
So what
waiting
would
for you
it
to
be?
ask a question. Alrighty. Um, it would be myself a 9.
9. Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So what worked this week for you?
Let's have a look. What went well? I was practicing patience.
Okay. Very
Yeah.
nice. What?
Being grateful for the wins, no matter the size.
Okay.
Following my plan. Recognizing when the conditions were potentially changing and exiting the trade. But what I was also doing is if things changed um, and it kind of was continuing on, then I would re-enter, which is actually not something that I used to do. But I've started. I was doing that this week, and it was really good. Um, and like when the loss came, when there were losses, it was like accepting them, but and then just looking for another entry.
Okay. What else?
Yeah. um so that's it on the trading side.
Nice.
Yeah, it's been a good
Big
week.
improvement from last week.
Yeah.
Okay. What didn't work for you?
um so I would say it would be moving my stop loss too soon, um
Okay.
and just not giving it enough space. Yeah. I was in a few, and even on some of the bigger ones, it was like, it was moving down, and it moved a lot. And I was like, okay, I'll just move it down. Um and what happened? I think news happened for one of them, and it went right up. It shouldn't have, but it did. It had the opposite effect of what I thought it would have.
Hmm.
Um, and I got stopped out, which is okay. I was okay with it. Um, but if I had given a little bit more breathing space and maybe not moved my stop loss so soon, I wouldn't have. I ended up re-entering the trade. Like once that big movement had finished and I could see it was beginning to like correct and retrace back down, I re-entered, which was fine. But yeah, but if I just kind of left it alone, with yeah,
Okay. So notice
it
the
would have been all
dwelling.
right. No, I'm not dwelling on it, actually. I'm just kind of like, this is what happened.
Yeah.
I don't think about it. I just kind of like look back and I go, well, this is what happened. But if I'd done this, kind of like learning from it, like
Exactly.
learning from
But
what
if
happened.
I had listened to your words, yeah, it is what happened. But if I just did this, then blah, 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 blah. Right? So listen to it. There's the word but. So in other words, you're still not happy. There's still some form of regret in there. So how about you?
Well, it just comes back to moving my stop loss. Like if I
Mm,
hadn't done that, then
that is
but
your
like I
personal choice.
did, I did re-enter, which was great because I would normally have done that, but I did. Um,
Okay. Then this should be
yeah,
a positive note, not a negative note. That when you
it's
move your
not. No, re-entering wasn't. But if I hadn't moved the stop loss, then that room would have been there.
exactly. See, listen to those words. If I didn't move that stop loss, then it would have been blah, 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 blah. So it's a personal choice once again. You choose to put that stop loss in there.
I did,
Exactly.
definitely,
The question is based
and
on
I
your
chose
choice.
to move it.
Exactly. So did you choose it freely or you're not choosing it freely?
No, I knew what I was doing. I looked at it and I was, yeah,
Exactly.
I
So
was,
if you're aware of it, then why make it as a negative statement that it is that you move your stop loss too soon? If you were aware of it. So if you're aware of it, the
because
question,
it's not just with this trade, because it's not just with this trade. I just use it as an example. It's happened with a few others as well, where I kind of moved my stop loss too soon,
exactly. So the
and
question,
I just get stopped out.
are you happy moving your stop loss too soon?
So I guess it's the like it's gone and it's in profit, and it's moving and it's moved beyond the entry. So I move it in to I guess if there is that pullback, then and I'm safe. I don't have that loss.
Exactly. That is the
So then I
upside.
get slapped down. Yeah, and then I just look for another entry.
So the upside is that by you moving your stop loss is minimizing your risk.
Right,
Now,
definitely.
if it kept, I mean, if it took your stop loss and then it went to your target point, that is where
That's
the
happened.
irritation happened.
Yeah, that happened during the week as well,
Yeah, it's just my
which was frustrating.
yeah, of course it would. Because just really think about it. So where is the present? The present is in the moment, right? When the price is there. Let me change that. So this is the present. You're moving the stop loss, which basically happened in the past. So say for $1, now you're moving the stop loss to 110.
Right.
As the present is moving to the future that doesn't exist, and all of a sudden the price gets taken and then it moves forward to the future where your TP got taken. So that present moment within that time becomes the now of the future. And the future will also keep moving. So in any event, this is always going to be a question mark. There's always going to be uncertainty. So if there is uncertainty and you're seeking certainty, the question is, what is that certainty that you're seeking?
It's just like minimize any
Exactly.
potential loss
Correct.
that.
Correct. Minimizing the loss. That is that certainty that's happening within the present moment. Now, since time is simply an illusion, where it keeps, when you're tracking time, but in actual fact, time doesn't exist because everything happens where? Just now. In From a metaphysical perspective, there's no time. It is just constant. But the illusionary of our mind is thinking that, hey, now price is moving. It came back down and now it moved back up. And then what now you're trying to do, you're finding a better entry point that maybe could potentially drop to 105 or to 110 once again, or even to 115. But what happens when the price is not coming back down, it just keeps going up. Then it's now 125 and then 130. And then now you're missing the movement. And internally, the regret is now happening. That's now stopping the uncertainty of events once again, is now limiting you to press the trigger anyway. And the reason why I know this is because it happens to everyone, including myself. So the thing is about when a person is giving a choice, or to choose something is to have the freedom to choose it based on the decision-making process. Decision are reasons why not to. Very similar to what OX is currently doing to us. They're making reasons why not to. And so they're giving me a lot of bullshit reasons that the problem is not the system, but they're just reasons. And they're not choosing to rectify the actual problem itself and choosing not to acknowledge what the real issue is, even though evidence is already there. So in your particular case, what is your evidence? Your evidence internally that you know that it's going to go to 120. So rather than trusting yourself, is that the fear is overruling you because you're seeking certainty to minimize the loss. So in other words, you're not risking in terms of that what the risk should be because price will keep moving. So if you're willing to risk, say, for example, the stop loss is 105, and now you moved your stop loss to 110. So what is the difference if you're willing? So think about it logically. If you're willing to risk at 105, and now the price is moving, all of a sudden it's 115, heading towards the 120, and you waited for this long. Say, for example, it took you 1 hour to get from 105 to 110, and you're willing to risk that amount. Now the price is moving to 115, then why won't you take first the profit at 115? Because once again, the focus is 120.
Right.
So if the profit is already given to you at 115, then why won't you take it? That's question number one. Question number two, if you're willing to risk 105, then why would you move to 110 if you know that price will go to 120 anyway?
Yeah.
See what I mean? That's
Well,
why
yeah.
the ego of
I
fear
guess there's
is
always.
stronger than the being of self-trust based on your intuition. Intuitively, you already know it's going to go 120. But because from a conscious perspective, the fear is in there, that's why you move the stop loss. Same thing what happens with copy trading. People cannot hack the drawdown. Drawdown is a normal event. You want high returns? Hey, expect high risks. You cannot have high returns with low risk. It's not relative based on price and time and risk. So that is the distance, and you're dealing here with time, you're dealing here with price. The longer it is based on time, the bigger the profit. The bigger the profit, the bigger the risk. This is the risk. Smaller time frame, small risk, but it's also small profit. Bigger the time frame, bigger the profit. So people were always like, no, I'm not happy, or I cannot handle the drawdown, I can't handle the risk. Hey, don't do it. It's plain and simple, right? That's right. Everybody has different risk parameters based on personal belief systems. You're willing to make a lot of money, but you're not willing to sacrifice the risk that it needs to take. Therefore, if you're willing to move this to 110, then also you need to be also be willing to take it at 115, not at 120. Because the market doesn't go in a straight line, it always oscillates. It goes up, it comes back down, it goes up, it comes back down. Now, if your stop loss is here and you're gonna move your stop loss over there, you're gonna get taken out because it has to correct itself before. Right? That's why all these things needs to be taken in consideration. But once again, it all comes down to your being based on your belief system. And I really do appreciate for you sharing this, and there's a whole point of the coaching session is to identify the reasoning that you put to yourself or the ego that is controlling you, the root source of everything. So if you're open to it, this, if there's no regret, this is a good side. Because you move your stop loss too soon. However, hey, I'm not willing to lose $20. I'm willing to risk $10. Yes, it would have gone, I might have lost 10, but the upside is that I minimize it and I'm not going to lose 20. That's the upside. Now, if the ego comes in, the ego of righteousness comes in, then of course there's going to be some form of dwelling in regret because you're now telling to yourself that, hey, see, I was right. Now, if I didn't move it, then it would have taken to my target point, I would have made money. See, once again, it is the validation of oneself that you are right by you to justify, to create a reason behind it. Hence, what is the emotion? The emotion of regret that leads to irritation, leads to anger. And then you'll justify yourself, but you know what? I re-entered. Awesome. In its purest state, if you accepted the loss, then you can just re-enter, no problem, and you let go of this actual issue itself. Then you don't have any issues. It's very similar to, say, someone wronged you, and you have a grudge with that person. You're not letting go in terms of what he or she said, right? That's just another example. So rather than letting it go to move forward, there's still that lingering back of the mind, like, the guy's a fucking asshole. Right? So very similar with this, it is more of a revenge aspect. Okay, stop. Yeah, I'm going to find another way to re-enter, and then I will make money to prove it to you that I'm going to make money. But in actual fact, who are you really proving to? Nobody else but yourself. Notice it's a mirror. It's a reflection, right? For you to be right. It's no longer about making money. It's now about oneself. Because if it's about making money, then you know that it will go to 120. You just let it be. Let it breathe. Because time is a variable that to get to the target point, you need time. The question is, are you willing to let it breathe? Are you letting it? Are you willing to let it be? Very similar with our kids. Are we willing to let that child find its own personality type without us being scared for them or telling them what to do or not or limiting them. Likewise for partners, for example. I don't like you because you're not this, blah, 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 blah. It's no longer about them. It's now about quote unquote you, which is basically us. Of course, it works both ways, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But for a child is so pure. The child is like the marketplace. Yeah, I'm just doing its own thing. I'm playing. Ah, I want to climb
Yeah.
it. Then all of a sudden you're limiting that, and then they fall. So you're telling them, hey, don't do that. And then they don't understand why. Why can't I do it? So they start to ask questions rather than, hey, just be aware that you're pretty high up in there. So just be aware of your surroundings. That's it. Let them be. They fall, they fall. Of course, as a parent, your job is to guide them to know what's right and what's wrong, to know whether if they really can do it or not, they can't do it, right? It's about also the safety. And of course, that's part of that. But how can they grow if you're not letting them be? So same thing with this. How can your money grow if you're not letting it be?
Yeah.
Right? So the question is next is in terms of solution, what did you learn from it?
Um, to not move it so soon, to just let it be. So I
Mhm.
placed the trade, and I accepted, that if it does go this way, then that's a loss. And but then it goes into profit. I think, well, I'll just move it to minimize it, just in case it flips back. But yeah, just need to leave it alone.
Okay, let's take acceptance. Mhm. Who do you have to be to really fully accept someone?
Aware,
Awareness is just an act to accept something.
grateful. No,
That's part of that.
no.
But there is a value that really needs that each and every individual from a spiritual level that they have to be in order to accept things the way they are, whether it'll be your kids, your partner, a friend, the markets.
To be understanding.
What else?
Um, to be
I'll give you a scenario.
just, yeah,
Your son decided to climb a high tree. Are you gonna let
yeah.
him climb or you're not gonna let him climb?
I'll let him climb.
No, be honest. Are you gonna really let him climb?
Yeah, I would. I mean, I know he wouldn't. He's not that. He's yeah. But if he was going to go up, then I would. I'd just, I'll just tell him to be careful.
See, if you tell him to be
Um,
careful, that already puts in his subconscious mind that there's something wrong.
yeah,
He's not gonna do it if you're gonna say be careful. What does the word be careful really mean?
look out! Right, look out for what you're doing, like where you're going.
The word be careful compared to be aware is totally different. They have two different meanings.
Yeah. Well, I guess like when you want them to be careful, you want them to take care for themselves, or take care of for themselves and what they're doing. Yeah, so they don't get hurt.
So what happens if you don't even say anything? See, if you're not there and I don't even know it, remember, boys will do a lot of stupid shit.
Yeah, I bet. Don't doubt that. I do not doubt that for a second.
I was telling my kids that I was sharing with them, man, the stuff that I did when I was your age, ooh, that's freaking crazy. I can't believe I
I
survived
know.
though.
I know, right? It's like
That's
kids,
rare.
like you got no idea. Like we're just
So
left to our own devices. It's like, like now, it's like, you know,
I don't even think twice in like, growing up. Like my friends, I don't even think twice. Jumping off a cliff and doing all this crazy stuff. Riding in a wagon on the cliff, and then we have uh, our slippers using as brakes. They
what?
go fast. It was like and cars everywhere. We're just like, what? Every time I think of it, like, oh.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, boys do some silly things.
It was crazy, but it was fun, right? So
Yeah.
make it this way. I want you now to imagine you're at the edge of that cliff. You're gonna jump, bungee jumping. Question is, are you gonna jump?
No.
Yeah. Either your response, no.
No.
Why?
No. Um, I don't want to
The question is why?
because I don't want to fall down there.
But how
I
do
don't
you
want
know the
to
feeling of of it if you don't do it? See what I
be,
mean? Like,
I don't, but I don't want to. Like, I don't, I mean, some
yes.
people want to. Like, some people have this urge to do it. Like, and they love it so much. But I look at it and I think, I don't want to do that.
Exactly, because there is something in the mind or in the brain that is stopping you to do it, right? So even let's say, for example, I'll give you another scenario. It's basically apocalypse is happening. There's no food, and the only available food that you can eat is a rat. Are you gonna eat it?
Uh, I want to say no, but I have a feeling the answer would be yes.
Exactly, because you have no choice. You want to survive, you want to
Yeah.
eat that rat.
I mean, if you've got a bunch of crazy people coming after you and you got to jump off a cliff, I mean, chances are you're going to do it.
So, but if you're jumping a cliff, but you know there's a safety net, like you got to do bungee jumping, and then okay, I give you now a different scenario. Someone kidnapped your child, and the only way for you to get that child is for you to jump the cliff with the bungee, so you can save your child. Are you gonna do it?
Of course.
You see, with no hesitation, you said, "Of."
No, definitely not. Definitely not. No.
You know what I mean? That's why it's choices are based upon reasoning, whether the reason is good enough or not. There has to be something behind a personal choice. See, look, if there's no scenario about the apocalypse or your child, you won't even, you're gonna hesitate. You're gonna say no, but you jumping. But now something is on the
Yeah.
line, someone you do love, you didn't even hesitate. Of course, I'm gonna jump. That is the power of the human mind. That is your subconscious mind talking because based on certain limiting beliefs that you do have internally, those are conditions, and hence awareness or acceptance is through unconditional component, unconditional love. So how can you be in a state of unconditional love? Is through trust. Can you trust yourself that you can do it? With no trust, how can you trust anyone if you don't even trust yourself?
Yeah.
You won't be able to.
Yeah.
How can you love someone if you don't even love yourself? You won't be able to. This is why
Yeah.
people are always seeking the need. Oh, he is my rock. She is my rock. Oh, I need him. I need her in order for me to have a on day-to-day going. No, you don't need anybody. You need yourself, love yourself, trust yourself. If you would be able to do that, you can accept yourself, then you can accept others. So if you know that if you trust yourself, that you can trust your son to do the right thing, you're not going to have any problem. Why do you think kids rebel? It's because of the lack of trust. Oh, my mom
Yeah.
doesn't believe in me. My dad doesn't believe in me. The next thing you know, they're now finding ways to also be validated, to
Yeah.
gain that,
Try and get out and do stuff.
to gain
Get
acceptance
that
and to gain love.
independence.
This is why I know from my daughter, for example, she always is seeking significance, validation. Every time I'm giving the affirmation in her head that she doesn't need validation, that she just has to be confident within herself. My son is a totally different person. Like he doesn't, he knows himself so well.
Yeah.
That's his own thing. My daughter, on the other hand, I believe it's always the first child is from what I've seen in terms of behavior, first child is always like that for some reason. I don't know. I don't know why. Different personality compared to the second child.
Maybe, or maybe it's just with the first one, like, the first child, you've got first time parents and you know, they just want to protect that child. Whereas by the
Exactly.
time the second one comes along, you're just like, you do what you like. You're a little bit
Exactly.
more relaxed. You're a little bit
Correct.
more aware, you're a little bit, you kind of know what you're doing. You know that they'll be okay.
Yes. And then also the reason why I know that, my daughter will always say, "Hey, Dad, I did this." And then of course that I'm aware in terms of what she's saying, so I'm also giving her that acknowledgement. I'm proud of you. Keep it up. Keep going.
Yeah.
So all these things is very important. I know I said I said certain things basically in the past there, like, ooh, when I think about it, like, oh, I was too harsh. But at
Yeah.
the same time,
Oh,
also being
wow.
right, I was being honest with her, but like, one of her games, I said, I'm sorry, Renee, but you played that shit. I didn't say the word shit, but I said, you didn't play
Yeah.
the so what's the matter with there? Like, it's a lot of mistakes. But it's also important for me to do that, to be honest, because if I'm always praising her, then she always is going to think that she is always going to be the best. But therefore, then there's nothing for her to work towards something.
Yeah. But I guess if she knows where she went wrong, you can always think, okay, I can improve there. I can work on that.
That's why acceptance is through self-trust. If you can accept, but first you have to trust yourself before you can trust someone. When you trust someone, then you have acceptance. If it doesn't matter who it is. Why do you think people are jealous? Let's talk about jealousy. Jealousy is one of the worst egos because of lack of trust. It's jealousy. Oh, I'm jealous. Oh, why is he talking to this girl? Why is she talking to this guy? When you don't have self-trust, then you have low self-esteem. You low self-esteem, then you have low or lack of self-confidence. Notice that they're all connected. Because when you're confident, then you'll have high self-esteem. And you have self-esteem is because of the trust that you have for yourself. And the highest of energy vibration is self-love, right? Because if you have that, then that means that you love
Mm.
yourself. So if you have all that, and it doesn't matter if there's another person in there and that person is talking, then there's no jealousy. Because if you trust that person, then you know that the person should do the right thing. And if he or she cheated, then that's on him or that's on her. It's no longer got to do about you. And who's going to suffer? Not you. The other person is going to suffer because he's the one or she's the one who did the act of cheating. So the question is, it's self-reciprocity once again. He or she might have cheated because of the lack of self-trust. Oh, she's nagging me, he's nagging me. Oh, I'm not getting enough sex, or I'm not getting enough love, I'm not getting this, not getting that. So if there's none, then in other words, everything is conditional. There has to be a condition. That level of acceptance has to be a level of condition. Similarly, when you're trading the markets, you are in relationship with the marketplace. Remember, the market doesn't know, though, that you're in relationship with it. So how can you accept your stop loss if you don't trust yourself that it can go to 120? Because of the fear that is being driven. See how it works?
Yeah.
And this is why I love trading so much and I love jiu-jitsu is because of that aspect. Jiu-jitsu, I was just talking this to a couple of new members yesterday, and they're girls. Um, they're beginners. I said, "Do you have any questions?" And I said, "Yeah, this." And I said, "Okay." Then they said they asked certain questions with me, how long you've been training and so forth. And I said, "Yeah, this is my church. This is where I don't think. This is where I have no stress. It relieves the stress, or it decreases my cortisol levels. Why? It gives you the ability to be present and not think of anything. So trading is also the same. So imagine, I told them, imagine if you can apply this in your day-to-day life, because the maths, they never lie. And I said, I can already tell that when I'm rolling with someone or when I'm training with someone, I know their personality type based on the maths. And they look at me like, ooh, they started laughing. I said, yeah, because I know if they start to rush, they're impatient. If they start to breathe heavily and then you smother them, They panic. They have the anxiety. And I know for a fact that that person is also anxious. So their behavior will pop up based on the maths. And then you can tell when the person thinks too much. So trading the marketplace is also the same. It never lies. It is a total reflection of oneself. But in most cases, the question is the person willing to accept themselves when they make a mistake and put the ego aside? If you'll be able to do that, then you can profit and you can live peacefully in harmony. And you're now trading in harmony with the markets. Think about it. The market doesn't know that you do exist, but it's oscillating.
Right.
So if your energy vibration is also in the same frequency, will you make money?
Yeah.
Absolutely. 100% all the time, where there is no resistance, and the path of least resistance is through the same energy, the same frequency. Now, if your energy vibration is the opposite, will you make money?
A little bit, but not a lot.
No, you're not going to make any money, because if it's going up, you're shorting it. By the time you're going long, it's coming back down.
You got those little moments. Like I said, yeah.
You won't be able to. And when you're against the energy vibration, it is mainly more of the negative emotion that the person is experiencing. Irritation, revenge trading, because the person got irritated, right? Anger, regret, all these things. So what is the key when you're in that space? Stay away from the computer screen, go for a walk, go train, do whatever. Take a couple deep breaths, do your breathing exercises, do your meditation, self-reflection, writing down basically on your journal, all these things. But these are the things that people don't do because they think they know themselves. But to be honest with you, 98% of the whole population don't know themselves. They think they do, but they don't. Sometimes I think I know myself, and the next thing you're like, oh, craps, maybe not. And that part of that self-reflection will keep happening. Right? So that's why from this, to really be in a level of state of acceptance is through self-trust, self-love, self-esteem, self-confidence, self-discipline. All the values of the being. And when you have that level of acceptance, then you are going to be aware. And there is no ego because there is no conditioning. We are our own world. Same as this person, they are their own world. That's why people who instill their own belief system to others, it ain't gonna work. Controlling another person, it ain't gonna work. Why do you think there are a lot of narcissistic people out there? It's a part of self-manipulation. To push their whatever belief systems, and then they blame it. Now they're no longer accepting responsibility of whatever actions that they may have. So that is where your homework is going to be, is to find or to practice self-acceptance first, to get rid of the ego of righteousness. How do you get rid of that? Stop justifying, stop reasoning. Just be responsible of the personal choice that you made. Great, you moved to 110, and then look at the positive side of it. Haha, okay, I might have been 110, but guess what? Rather me losing 20 bucks, I just lost $10. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Because the next trade that you're gonna find is that you're gonna make $20. So you're up 10 bucks. Third trade, you made 30, and so forth and so forth. But if the focus is the losing component, would you be able to make money?
No.
Absolutely not. How can we if the focus is on the negative? This is when that's going to happen. So it's loss after loss after loss. Similarly in sports, person who was always thinking about winning can never win because they're focusing on the wrong thing. Then they're going to say, oh man, I can't believe I lost. I can't believe I lost. What do you think is now they're telling themselves? I'm a loser. I can't believe
Yeah.
I lost. Rather than saying, I am disciplined, I am reactive, I am energetic, I am confident, I am winning. Total different. Okay, so your homework basically for this week is to keep going, and you know it's proven over and over. Look at this. I work on patience. That's part of your value. Working on gratefulness, working on discipline to follow the plan. To follow a plan, imagine the amount of trust that you have to put in for you to follow the plan. Then therefore, the times that you move your stop loss, I don't know whether if moving your stop loss is part of the plan. And if not, then you disobeyed your plan. Then you didn't follow your rules. Then you dishonored yourself in terms of the lack of discipline and integrity. And also why I'm sharing this because that is my mantra basically for this week. Do not touch the freaking trade. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Leave it alone.
That's it. Yeah.
Right? Same. The trust. Trust the process. Trust the process. So if I freaking just kept sleeping,
Yeah.
freaking trade, it would have gone to my TP exactly to where it wanted to be,
Yeah.
2666, even
That's
20
crazy.
below it, right? But the plan was there. But the same thing, basically, what happened? I'd rather take my profit right now because what if it goes back up, then I will lose the profit.
That's it. Well, that's it. Like considering it was like the election and the markets were just, but you just didn't know what they were going to do next.
Yeah, but the charts never lie though. It's bearish. So if you trust the process, regardless of whatever is going outside, then you're just gonna let it be. Like the way you're gonna let your child climb that freaking tree and let it be. If he
Yeah.
falls, awesome. Then guess what? Then his learning is not to go that high up next time, right?
Yeah.
But thinking about it, like, what are the really odds that he's gonna fall? Of course, he's gonna be aware. He's gonna grip. He's gonna hold this. He's gonna do that. Now, if he's in trouble, then you ask for yourself. Then great. Then that is when you help, right? And this is, and if you look at your personality of your child, his personality is based upon the guidance that you and your partner or the dad basically led to where he's at in terms of his 6 years, 7 years living in this planet. And then just think about it. If you did things the other way, what do you think his personality is going to be? So he's only six,
Different.
7 years. You can
Yeah.
actually
7.
change some of his behaviors by instilling certain words through his subconscious, right? So, but because by the time they're around 12, 13, they already have that logic. They're going to start
Yeah.
questioning, and all of a sudden, part of their personality is already there. It's actually more challenging to guide a teenager. How do I know that too? A couple of my cop friends, it said, yeah, it's tough with middle school kids because they think that they're already good and they think they're the best and things like that. And they get to high school even
Yeah.
worse. right? So you know that, and it's where we've been there, done that. However, our era compared to kids' era these days is totally
Mm,
different.
different.
Social
Yeah.
technology. So anyway, that is where your self-reflection is really meditating. Like, okay, where did my ego come from in terms of my righteousness? What beliefs do I have that's limiting me to gain some form of certainty? Why am I fearful? Why am I this? Why am that? If you can find that out, then the next question that you're going to ask yourself is, how old was I when this happened? It won't pop up automatically, but sometimes it does. But if not, you meditate, have a look. Your personal guide will always guide you. It will tell you, oh, okay, I remember this incident. Oh, yeah, my dad did said this, my mom said this, oh, my classmate said this, my teacher said this. Because he might even be at home, it might be at school. If he's not at school, maybe a relative or a friend, right? Or maybe what you've seen or what you've read basically in the past. So all these things, or a personal experience. So if you were able to do that, then you apply it again for next time, and that's how personal change actually happens. That's why if the same event that you're trading and then you're moving your stop loss, so even before you move it, am I really accepting that if it goes down to 110, am I gonna be okay with it? If you say yes, with full honesty and authenticity, I can guarantee you there's no dwelling, no level of
Mm.
righteousness, because you're just go to the next one. You're not gonna even think about it. It's like you jumping the cliff without even having a thought, right? Because you're just moving forward, go to the next one. Oh, this is fun. I'll do it again. Do you remember the first time you rode I don't know if you're into roller coasters and stuff or something that was
Yeah,
fun,
been, yeah,
right? Oh, then the first time, ooh, a bit too fast, a bit scary. And then you do it and like, oh man, it's not even scary at all. It's actually fun. Then you go back up in there again. You go over and over again because it's just the initial thought, the thought that could potentially happen. And why is that? Because someone already told you in the past, hey, be careful. So I someone just imagine someone keeps telling you over and over again that becomes an affirmative condition to be in that state. Of course, you got to question it. Ooh, I don't know if I should do it or not. So that creates those limitations. But if no one basically said to you anything, like, okay, yeah, let's go, let's check it out. That is the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. Fixed
yeah,
mindset won't do it. A growth mindset will find a way to do it. We'll give it a shot before we say no. This is something as well. When my kids were young and they're like hesitant to taste the food, and I said, hey, taste it. At least if you don't like it, you just say it's not for me. At least you know that it's not going to be for you. But at least you gave it a
yeah,
shot. Compared to, oh, I don't want to eat it. No, then you don't have any food, and then sit here and you're going to starve yourself. Then so be it. If you don't want to eat it, then there's no other food. Now, but if you eat it on the other hand, at least you gave it a shot. Then if you don't like it, then I'll make you a different type of food.
yeah,
See the difference? But
yeah.
sometimes parents will just give up and like, okay, I'll make you something different, honey. In order, you're training
No,
your child to, because kids are so smart, like, oh, okay, if I just say no, then mom and dad would just do this anyway. That's
yeah,
their logic. Same thing when it comes to trading. If you know that it's not going to be good intuitively, then don't do it. But if you know it's going to be good, then do it. Then how are you going to know if you're not even going to place a trade? And this is why people don't want to place trades because they're afraid. Like, hey, but how do you know if you're not going to place that freaking trade? You won't. And how can you gather your own level of statistics if you're not placing trades? You won't be able to. That's why, a dream is only a dream because it's just a dream. There's no action. But a goal that has been achieved based on a dream will be achieved when you play and do an action. It's law of manifestation. It's just the way it is. You can meditate as long as you want, but if you're not taking any action, then you won't be able to get to where you want to be.
Exactly right.
You know what I mean? So that's why your goal is to get rid of that. How to get rid of that is the level of acceptance through honesty, self-trust, self-love, self-esteem, self-confidence. And how can you practice that? On a day-to-day matter, not just with trading, people around you. Start practicing trusting others. But before you trust them, can you trust yourself? And to do that is, here, by the way, is the biggest thing. To accept is through forgiveness. With no forgiveness, there's no acceptance. Plain and simple. Therefore, you forgive yourself first. And if you can forgive yourself, then you can be free. Hence, the truth will set you free.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Any questions here, Kirsten?
No. No. No, definitely no. All good.
Perfect. All
Yeah.
right. So
No.
be aware of your righteousness. Be
Yeah.
aware of your justification. Remember, you do not have to justify things to anyone. Because if you love yourself, you trust yourself, you have a high self-esteem, you're confident, do you have to justify yourself?
No.
Heck no. Right? Some people are like, oh, that sounds too, what's the opposite of confidence? Arrogant. No, dude, that's not arrogance, bro. That's just pure self-confidence because I know who I am. Why do I have to justify things with you? Why do I have to create reasons? I don't need to, unless if I choose to share it with you. Other than that, I don't need to justify shit.
Yeah.
Right? Just be aware
That's
of
it.
buts. But I have to do this. No, but is a negation of what you're stating. In other words, if you are who you are, then why do you have to negate yourself? You don't have to. You don't need to. That means that you just want to be right. It doesn't matter. It goes the other way. It goes, take your stop loss. You're right. Because if the price drops, it's at your stop loss and it keeps dropping, are you going to feel good? The answer is yes. Luckily, I moved my stop loss because if I did not, and now it's $1, then I would have lost 30 bucks, no longer 10 bucks. Then that justifies yourself that you're right. Now, price now went to 120, took your stop loss. See, I knew I'm freaking right. It went to 120. And if I just let it be and I didn't move my stop loss, I would take it at 120, I would have profited. What are you trying to be now? You still want to be right. Double-edged sword. Doesn't matter which part of the coin, heads or tails, you're still gonna be right. Then you're no longer being within that moment of who you're supposed to be being, which all is. Okie dokie.
Yeah.
That great job. Focus on this. So perhaps next time my recommendation would be, what didn't work for me this week? Well, firstly, is the lack of honesty of oneself. That didn't work for me. Why? Because I chose to move it to 110, but I wasn't really being honest to myself
Yeah.
because I let it ride. I didn't let it be. What didn't work for me this week is the lack of self-trust. See, these are now the root sources of why it didn't work. It's no longer the end result to justify one's behavior. So if I just trusted myself and let the market do its thing and let it breathe, then I would have profited. That is it. No self-justification there. There's no righteous there because you're just being honest in terms of why it didn't work. Then you can focus on the learning. What will be now the learning? The learning is to practice honesty. The learning is not practice self-trust. The learning now is to practice self-love in order for me to accept things, to be confident. And in order to be confident is by having some higher self-esteem. How can I improve my self-confidence? Number one, exercising. Number two, the way how you stand up. Number three, the way you talk. Your chest sticking out rather than dripping down. What else? By knowing exactly what you want. That's confidence. Rather than, I don't know, maybe I'll have that. If you're confident, you're going to say, hey, this is what I want. I want this and I want that. All right, guys, this is what we're going to have for dinner. Or you give him a choice. All right, for dinner is this or this. Choose. Bam. If they choose A, then that would be it. Then there's no complaints. If they choose B, then they choose B. See what I mean? But if you're not giving any options, people will stop complaining. By you not giving any options is through self-confidence, right? So, but also to do that is also the integrity to follow one's rule. That if you really want to follow the plan, then you have self-integrity. Oh, what didn't work is the lack of self-integrity because I moved my stop loss and I didn't follow the plan. That's the difference. No self-justification, just being honest with oneself. Okay, that's why if you can be able to do that, bam, it becomes easier each and every time. And remember, you're always in a relationship in the mindset that the market doesn't know that you do exist. So in other words, you're always in a relationship with yourself, no matter what. In your household, you're not in a relationship with your family, you're still going to be in a relationship with yourself. Because if you're in a relationship with yourself, then it becomes easier to have a relationship with your family. Questions, queries, challenges there, Kirsty.
Good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You have a great weekend. And
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
recommend write things down in your journal in terms of what you need to do for this week in preparation for next week. And once again,
Okay.
this is an ongoing thing. This is an ongoing practice. It doesn't happen overnight. So if you also have a goal, okay, today I want to practice about confidence. What are the things I need to do to be confident? All right. The way I dress, the way I stand, the way I talk, the way I walk, the way how I relate, the way how I trade. Boom. That is one aspect. Then it becomes automatic to you. When you have confidence, then your self-esteem will also increase. But in order to be confident, I need to trust that I would be able to do what I say. So in other words, also be in a space of integrity. In my opinion, integrity is the highest value there is because it's easy to break one's integrity. And if you can do that, then you can attain self-love. You can attain self-love, then you can attain unconditional component because you're just seeing things the way they are. No judgment, no criticism. And you can be able to do that, then you're in a space of acceptance and practicing honesty. Right? Awesome.
Yeah, no, definitely.
All righty. Have a
Yeah.
great day,
Cool.
Kirsty.
Yeah, you too. You to enjoy the sunshine.
Thank you. Thank you.
Alrighty.
Bye.
Bye.